Now, I'm not good at many things, but I am good at scaling businesses. And over the last 2 years, my team and I have generated over $35 million for the businesses that we own and operate and work with. Last month, our consulting business, which we call a high leverage marketing holdco, did just over $200,000 in revenue. Now, if you don't believe me, save yourself some time, click off this video, close the tab because this video isn't for you. For those of you who do want to stick around, I'm going to share with you the top 10 business scaling myths that I've come to realize are absolute bullshit in the last 7 years of my entrepreneurial career. And I really wish that I learned earlier so that we could have achieved what we've done today as a team much faster than we did. The first of 10 myths is marketing to everybody will make me more money. As much as I wanted to believe this at the beginning of my entrepreneurial career, it is absolutely not true. The more focused you can get, the more niched you can get with your targeting and your marketing and your messaging, the more money you will make. The reason for this is because if you market to everybody, you're really marketing to nobody because nobody's actually going to be able to relate to your offer or the things that you say in your marketing content and messaging. If your offer is, I'll help you book 90 showed qualified appointments over the next 90 days, and that's it, the odds are nobody is going to be opting in to your offer through your funnels, through your cold calls, through your cold emails, because they know that somewhere out there, there's a business that specializes in their specific niche and can speak to them individually. The much stronger offer would be, I can book you 90 showed calls in the next 90 days if you are a home service provider that does drywall and has between 1 and 5 team members and services a local region. You could even go deeper and say that your service is for businesses that have been in business for over 5 years and does over $50,000 a month in gross revenue. The moral of the story is the more niche you get, the less people you market to, the more money you'll make. Business scaling myth number 2, more channels equals more money. I can't even count how many times my friends, my clients, my partners have been attracted to this multi-channel, omni-channel approach. Let's post on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and do cold email and do cold calls and do ads. The list goes on. The problem is the more channels you focus on, the less time you have to iterate, improve, and pay attention to what's working and what's not working within each channel, which means it's going to take you longer and longer and longer to actually develop a channel that's predictable and can lead to predictable revenue for your business. The hard truth that I had to come to terms with the first business that I scaled to a 7-figure run rate was that one channel is all you need. Realistically speaking, it should take you between 3 to 12 months to develop a channel that generates predictable lead flow, predictable appointments, and most importantly, predictable revenue. The reason for this is because you have to constantly test. You have to pay attention to what the kinds of customers that come through that channel are saying. You have to pay attention to what they need and also how to improve that channel, whether it's a funnel or your messaging, to result in higher conversion rates. The more you split your focus, the less time you'll have to focus on that channel and the less money you'll make. One channel is really all it takes to get your business to a $3 to $10 million a year run rate. Only once you reach that point should you start exploring developing a second or third channel. And when you go and develop that second or third channel, expect it to take you time. Expect it to take you another 3 to 12 months. Expect to invest a lot of money up front, have a lot of sunk cost, and then eventually down the road, once it's been developed, once you can generate predictable lead flow and revenue from that channel, will it pay off exponentially. Myth number 3, leads matter. I will be the first person to tell you that the number of leads that come through your funnel does not fucking matter at the end of the day. The most important thing that you should be optimizing for is the metrics at the bottom of your funnel. Why would I care that I got 1,000 or 10,000 leads through my funnel if not a single one of those leads closed? And this is a mistake that a lot of early first-time or second-time business owners will make, is that they say, I'm gonna start optimizing to get 100, 200, 300 leads through my primary acquisition channel, but I'm not gonna focus on if they're qualified. And this really comes back to that idea of marketing to everybody is marketing to nobody. The best way to get cheap leads is by being broad in your messaging. The best way to get qualified appointments and cheap acquisition costs is to be targeted in your messaging. And by that same token, if you go all the way to the bottom of the funnel, which is the metric you should be optimizing for, acquisition cost, leads at the end of the day shouldn't matter. So if I'm optimizing for the cost per lead, I'm optimizing for the wrong metric because I might be optimizing for a bunch of cheap, shitty leads that never close. If I'm optimizing for cost per acquisition, I'm optimizing for the right metric because what I'm optimizing for is cash in the door, cash in my business, and cash in my pocket, which I can then use to continue scaling that channel and the team that I use to service the customers that we sell. So wrapping your head around the idea that you'll be better off with 1 lead through your door that closes than 10,000 leads through your door with 1 that closes is the first key to taking that next step with your channel. Myth number 4, optics matter. I can't tell you how much I used to care about what other people thought about my business from the outside. I'd spend all day working on things like custom business cards or custom journals that I could bring to client meetings with my logo on the front with leather casing on it, or working on my website and spending $5,000 for somebody else to build that website for me. Or better yet, spending an entire day building an Instagram page around content that looked good, but didn't actually convert or lead to leads or new business coming through my door. At the end of the day, None of this matters if your business doesn't make money, because people won't care what they're looking at if it doesn't exist in a year. So the irony is that the idea of optics matter doesn't matter. There are so many businesses I've seen that have the absolute shittiest looking landing pages, the worst examples of lead nurture, the most bare bones CRM automations that still do multiple 7 figures a year in run rate. And only once they've proven that they can do that, do they start investing in the things that make their business look sexy from the outside. I'll give you a great example of this. 14 months ago, we started working with a client that didn't have a digital presence at all. They had a decent website. The Instagram was kind of They were posting content of their existing customers. It was good enough to get by. Their biggest problem is that they had been working on a product for the last 9 years, but didn't have a way to bring it to market. Investing in things like PR campaigns, going to things like events and conferences, spending $50,000 on a booth and setups, the whole 9 yards, and nothing worked. They're running on thin margins, doing 20K a month, and they've been doing that for the last 9 years straight. So when we came on board, instead of focusing on doing the same things that they had been doing for the last 9 years, we set up the most bare bones lead acquisition funnel. We did a direct book a call funnel from Facebook ads. We set them up on a simple CRM, which was Go High Level. We set up the most simple lead nurture and appointment confirmation workflows, as simple as 3 text messages and 4 emails. And we hired a sales rep quite literally off the street. I was out smoking a cigar at a local lounge and ran into a guy who was a realtor. I asked him if he'd want a job as a closer. He said yes. I spent a couple hours training him and threw him onto an offer. The most bare bones structure for lead acquisition and closing that you could possibly get. And within the first 90 days of working with this client, we took them from 20K a month to over $640,000 in sales in just a 30-day period. If that isn't proof to your pudding of optics don't matter, and the only thing that matters is getting business through your door, I don't know what else is. So instead of investing your money into new websites, business cards, social media managers to make your Instagrams look pretty, spend your time investing your money into things like consultants. Somebody who's been where you are 10 times before and has done it 100 times better than you have. Pay them to come into your business, help you install the systems, and teach you how to take your business to the next level so that you don't have to make the same mistakes that they did. The other things you can spend your time investing in are advertising, building lead acquisition channels, full-time team members. You don't need to put your time or money into part-time team members. It's much better to have 1 full-time team member than 3 to 5 part-time team members that are 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Scaling myth number 5, I have to reinvest everything to scale my business. This is something that I'm personally guilty of, taking multiple years of not paying myself, taking every dollar that I made, rolling it back into my business and investing it in the wrong things. A great book that I picked up just over a year ago is called Profit First. And the book talks about the idea that the standard business person looks at a revenue equation like revenue minus expenses equals profit. And now that's what everybody teaches you in business school. But if you switch your mindset to revenue minus profit equals expenses, you can come away at the end of the day with a lot more money in your pocket in exchange for the time you put into scaling your business, while also running a much more efficient business that forces you to question where you put each dollar to maximize how quickly and effectively you can scale. The moral of this story is go and read that book. But if you want the TLDR, before you go and start spending on things for your business, take 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% of the revenue you decide as soon as it hits your account and put it into another account called profit or owner's comp, and do not touch that money. Whatever's left over, use that to scale your businesses, hire team members, spend it on ads, consultants, advisors, you name it, but make sure you're spending it on the right things. What this will allow you to do is at the end of each month, actually pay yourself out money from the money that your business is generating, and also force you to think about how to spend for your business more efficiently so that you're not spending every dollar that comes through its doors. Myth number 6, product matters. Now I know what you're gonna say, but no, if you're not selling a good product, at the end of the day, you're not gonna get referrals and it's just a scam. I fully agree. I'm not saying don't ever focus on product. I'm just saying don't focus all of your time on the product. If you take 2 scenarios, one scenario where you have an amazing product, but you never get to put that product in the hands of people that need it, or scenario 2, you have a shitty product, but it still works, and you have an opportunity to put it in the hands of thousands of people who need it. What you get to do in scenario 2 is get feedback from customers in real time, get money through the door, and use that feedback and money to continue to iterate and make that product better for the people who actually need it. In scenario 1, you end up with a decent product with not a lot of feedback from the market and not a lot of money to continue making iterations and service that market better. So when you compare both scenarios, scenario 2, where you have a shitty product at the start, but you have the ability to put it in the hands of thousands of people who need it, you'd be able to scale your business exponentially faster than if you had gone with scenario 1. So moral of the story is focus on building minimum viable products, get them in the hands of people that need it, maybe don't charge them as much, and then learn from what those people need and want to improve about the product to continue making money and providing more value to your customers. Myth number 7, complexity indicates intelligence. Now, if you're one of those people who absolutely killed it in school, you got straight A's across the board, you were a 4.0 GPA, you got a full ride scholarship to university, you fucking killed it when you were there, you have a high IQ, you have a high EQ, you need to be careful. Because what you'll end up doing is spending so much time in your head, planning, thinking out every possible scenario, and not enough time actually getting in the trenches and implementing. What this looks like in the business world is I'm gonna take the next 5 weeks to set up the most legendary, well thought out, complex nurture systems. I'll write all the SOPs, and then I'll go and hire all the people, make sure they're trained on the SOPs, and then I'll launch my offer. The problem with this is you might have just went and spent 5 weeks of your time building something that doesn't work, or maybe the market doesn't want, and then have to go back and change it all after you launch it. The other thing that you'll find if you're one of these super smart people is when you go and solve a problem, you think about solving it in the most complex way. I'll build this automation and add this to the system and have 4 different SOPs that people need to follow, and I'll make an individual Slack channel for every single one of my different business operations. But what you're failing to think about and failing to see is that simple sells stupid, and that keeping things simple is usually the fastest way to get to your revenue target. I'll give you a great example of this. My business partner, Dylan, before we partnered up, had spent the last 5 years building multiple agencies, running omni-channel approaches, marketing to everybody, trying to do everything all at once. Running multiple agencies at the same time, running a community, the whole 9 yards. Now he was struggling while he was doing this to cross the 20 to 25K a month run rate. And after 5 years of beating his head against the wall, decided he was going to go all in on a single offer, a single business, and keep everything in that business stupidly simple. Instead of running ads and doing all these other things we talked about, he would focus only on YouTube, run a simple book a call funnel, and sell people on a sales call, and focus his time on marketing, sales, and product delivery. This was the base plate for what we now do today together at our consulting company, which last month did over $200,000 in revenue. The simpler you keep things, the better they run, and that goes for everything. Now, if you're confused on how this works and how you should implement this into your business and your life, go and spend the next 24 hours watching Sam Oven's content. He will teach you that running everything publicly, simply, and across few channels is the best way and most simple way to scale your business at high margins, and we fully agree. We run everything internally off 5 Slack channels. We've got a team of over 30 people, and they use 5 Slack channels. Only 9% of messages in our Slack are sent on DMs, 9% are sent on private channels, and the rest of them are sent in public channels. Our Monday workspace has 4 main boards that our entire team of 30 people uses to service not only internal needs, but also the 100+ partners and clients that we have active at any given month. So if there's one thing you can take away from this, it's that simple sells stupid, and you'll do much better in your business if you keep things simple and continually look at ways to reduce things globally at your business. Myth number 8 is believing you can do it all alone. A common theme and a common narrative across myself, my business partners, and almost all the partners we work with at our consulting company is that they started thinking they could do it all on their own. When I first started my agency, I was a freelancer. I was working, doing one-off photo video contracts, working 5 to 10 hours a day. And when I was doing that, I was making between $5,000 and $10,000 a month. But the problem was I could never get past that because it was just me. And the moment that I realized I could start working with other people to leverage my time better and also give those other people potential equity in my business or hire them to be a part of my team, I was able to take my income from 5 to 10K a month to where we are today, running a consulting business, doing over $200,000 a month in top line revenue. Now, this leads me right into myth number 9, which is I believe that I will always be the best at what I'm doing because it's my business. When I first started hiring people, when I first brought partners on and gave them equity in the business that I was running, the biggest problem was that nothing changed. I was still doing the same top line, I was still doing the same amount of work, but I was actually doing more work because I still had to manage all the new people on my team. The reason this happened is because I didn't know how to delegate properly, and I didn't know how to work with partners. So I ended up making the same amount of money doing 2 times the amount of work and hating my life 2 times more than I did before I ended up working with these people. Now, after a couple of years of learning it the hard way, I finally figured out how to manage my team, work with partners properly, which has brought us to where we are today and taking me from $10,000 to $20,000 a month as an individual freelance videographer, photographer, to now doing over $200,000 a month in top line revenue with a consulting business that I have partners in and has a team of over 30 people. A great question to ask yourself to see if you're facing the same problem is, am I more of a captain or a coach? If you're a captain, you're in the trenches on the field with your team. You have to be in there to rile them up, get them going. Sometimes you have to take over the game to win the game. And if you're not on the field with the team doesn't perform like they would if you were. But if you're a coach, you don't have to be there. You can rely on your captain to lead your team, rile them up, perform well, and win the game, while you can focus on the high-level strategy that's required for you guys to win the season. So if you're managing a team of people or you have partners, ask yourself the question, am I more of a captain or a coach? The best way to get yourself out of a captain position and into a coach position is by overcoming scaling myth number 10, which is that problems will fix themselves. The reality is problems will almost never fix themselves. When you identify a problem, fix it right away. When there's a hard conversation that needs to be had, have that conversation right away. Because if you don't, what was once a small problem that could be fixed in a couple of hours, that was more of a paper cut than a stab wound, can grow to epic proportions and become a business-killing behemoth that can not only take weeks, months, or even years to solve if you let it grow that big, but could even kill your business. And this aligns very well with becoming a coach. Moving from a captain to a coach position involves having the hard conversations, it involves putting trust into your team, and it involves being able to focus on high-level problems and solving those problems as soon as you realize them so that your business can continue growing sustainably. That brings us to the conclusion of myth 10. If you've made it this far and you're facing problems in your business that we didn't cover in this video and you'd like some help, fire a comment below, let me know what problem you're facing, and I'll take the time to personally respond to you and help you solve it. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more involved, feel free to click the link below, book a time to speak with one of our advisors, and they'll take the time to work with you one-on-one through those problems to put you on track for success as fast as possible.